Well, good morning, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys on another amazing, fantastic day. Today is Monday, March 24th, 2025, and welcome out there to everyone. I know sometimes our Instagram people join us a little bit late. So, again, welcome everyone. Our master topic, which kicked off on Saturday, is respecting sacred spaces, honoring what matters. If you remember, we started this off at Montclair State University in University Hall, and it was a really great kickoff. So today's granular topic is a really good one. Words and identity hold power. We might have heard the phrase, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's actually not true. You see, words can hurt us more than a little bit of an infliction on a skin or a cut or a bruise, because when that heals, it goes away. When you have something like a name calling, it goes inside our subconscious and it can stay with us for a very, very long time. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just getting up or whenever you're watching this, I encourage you to go to your kitchen, grab yourself some juice, maybe some coffee, maybe some tea, maybe some water, or maybe something healthy like a nice, delicious breakfast. That could be something sweet, something tart, or not. That's up to you. And hurry on back. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I'm not only a podcast host, but I'm also a podcast coach. And welcome, everyone. So, as I said, words are more than just sounds, they are the building blocks of our reality, that perception that we create every single day. The way we communicate shapes our thoughts, it influences our actions, and defines our identities, our actions, and it defines how we show up in the world, whether in the workplace, whether it's social settings, it doesn't really matter, or personal growth. The words we choose can inspire, empower, and transform, and they can demotivate us too. So that's why words are very important. But they can also limit, divide, or discourage if used carelessly. In this episode, I'm going to explore the profound impact of language and identity on our lives. Again, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I encourage you to check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, which incidentally, you can check out after the show or 24 hours a day. All right, everyone. So I'm ready to get started. I don't know about you, but you're going to gain some insights on how to harness the power of words to eliminate those challenges and elevate your success and motivate those around you. So get ready, everyone, for a deep dive into the language that, are you ready, shapes our world. So let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and let's begin because there's no better place to start than right here. I've talked about this many times, and so it is what I call the rule: words, body language, what you say, percentages, and what means more. And I think to understand this, we break this down into the 738-55 communication rule. And I said this before, 7% is the words. 38% is how you say it, and 55% of it is what you don't say. Let me say that again. This was derived by Albert Mehrabian, a researcher of body language who first broke down the components of face-to-face conversation. And he found that communication is 55% nonverbal, 38% vocal, 7% words. So that's a 55-38-7 rule, 55-38-7 rule. All right. So now that you understand that just a little bit, I think it's important to realize that how we communicate matters in our life. And if we don't communicate, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are still communicating. Did you know that? If we don't communicate, we are still communicating. So, thinking about that for just a moment, I think something I want to reflect on is language and how language shapes our reality. You see, the words we use don't just describe reality, they create it for us. The way we speak about ourselves, our goals, and our world around us influences how we perceive and navigate life. Think about it. When you use words of possibility and opportunity, we open up doors. When we speak in limitations and negativity, we close them. Leaders, innovators, and change makers understand this, and it will shape our language. And this is key for affecting our future. By choosing things that will empower us and our solution focused words, you can shift your mindset and create the reality that you've always desired. A lot of people pop in and out of social media because, they think they're going to get something great. But really, you've got to be committed and you've got to show up every day. Just coming in for 1 or 2 minutes doesn't really do anything. It's the fact that you keep doing it with intention. So that's important. And so when I think about, the whole concept, I think it can be daunting. So number two is identity drives empowerment. Identity drives empowerment. Identity drives empowerment. Who we believe we are directly impacts what we achieve. Identity is more than a label on us. It's a declaration of our self-worth and potential. When you define yourself with confidence, you take ownership of your journey. Too often people allow others to dictate their identity, limiting their growth. But when you embrace your true self and stand firm in who you are, and you unlock this new level of empowerment that fuels ambition, resilience, and success. So, what are you waiting for? Start owning your identity and let it drive you toward greatness. I think sometimes people get very frustrated because somebody tells them that they can't do it. And maybe it's a good friend, maybe it's a relative, or maybe it's a significant other. And they feel that, that what they're saying has to be true. But the truth of the matter is, it's not true. It's something that they're doing because they're impatient with you or they don't have any faith or belief in you. Number three, labels can limit or they can liberate us. So a label, regardless of what it is, can put us into a box. Also, a label can allow us to spread our wings. So labels have power, but it's up to us how we use them. Society often categorizes individuals, sometimes unfairly, placing them into boxes that restrict growth. I remember being in grammar school, and I remember the fact when they had reading groups, and I got put into a certain group, and that group defined me. Now, later on, when I got into a different group, it also changed my level. So the level actually affected my reading skills. And that's terrible how they do that, right? So labels can also serve as sources of strength and provide us pride. The key is to break free from the limiting labels. And I know some people, call you this, are you this, are you that, or you're that. Like that's terrible. The key is to break free from those limiting labels. Embrace those that reflect your true potential. All right. Remember, if you don't associate with something, then it's not going to own you. It's not going to control you. The minute you choose to associate with something, the minute it's going to empower or depower you. All right. So don't let outdated definitions hold you back. Choose labels that align with your aspirations and redefine what is possible for yourself. All right. Remember what you do with others. Don't just throw a label on somebody because you think it's what they are. It might not be. Words will create inclusion or they will set up a division. Language can bring people together or it can push them apart. In a world striving for unity, the words we choose determine whether we build bridges or we put up walls. Inclusive language fosters understanding, respect, and collaboration, while diversive words create barriers and, unfortunately, conflicts. Whether in leadership, relationships, or social change, the ability to communicate with inclusivity and transform interactions create a sense of belongingness for everyone. You might have heard it called DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. That basically means there's no discrimination for race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, color, political party. There's none of that, all right? And so words, unfortunately, can put us in a box. They can imprison us, all right? That is really important. Number 5, self-talk impacts mindset. The conversations we hold with ourselves shape our confidence, motivation, and overall well-being. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough or capable enough or you don't have it, you reinforce the self-doubt. But when you practice positive self-talk, And I don't just mean doing this one day or one time. You have to keep having this mental diet. You rewire your brain for success, encouraging words that will fuel your resilience, okay, and help you push through challenges. So pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue should be your biggest supporter, not your worst critic. So many people I know put themselves down like, oh, I'm never going to do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not creative enough, right? You say these things, and that's a problem. So changing it around to, I'm becoming more creative each day. I'm becoming smarter each day, right? I'm becoming stronger each day. You see how that changes? So you're not lying yourself, but you are, in fact, doing that, all right? And that mental outlook is going to help you change your physical outlook. That's really important. Number 6, ladies and gentlemen, it's cultural and social impact. So language is deeply tied to culture and society. The words we use reflect history, traditions, and evolving social norms. As societies progress, so does language, reshaping the way we address identity, inclusion, and respect. Being mindful of how language affects different cultures and communities allows us to engage in meaningful conversations that promote growth and understanding. Embracing language roles in shaping social change is a powerful way to create a more equitable and connected world. What's going on now in the DEI world is a lot of companies are saying, oh, gee, we can't do diversity, equity, inclusion because we're having budget cuts. That is the biggest crock of what. It's coming down to political control. And this could be things like if they do certain things, they're not going to get certain funding. Oh, whoop. Or, if they do certain things, then they are not going to get certain congressional support. Yes, unfortunately, Congress is political. It's not supposed to be, but it is. Even funding is political. So, number 7, ladies and gentlemen, reframing for positivity. One of the most powerful tools for personal and professional growth is reframing. When we shift the way we describe challenges, setbacks, or experiences, we shift our outcomes. Instead of seeing, let's say, failure, we can reframe it as a lesson. Instead of saying, I can't, say, I'm learning how to do it, or I'm becoming better every day at this. The words you choose will influence your emotional and your mental responses without you knowing it, giving the ability to turn obstacles into stepping stones. Practice reframing daily your language and watch how it transforms your mindset and your success level. Again, don't just do this for one day, do it for an entire week. I think that is the important thing. So, the power of naming, number 8, the power of naming. By the way, don't forget to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com. If I didn't mention that before, after the show, you can catch many of my short form, my long form content, and even my articles when I do publish those. The power of naming. Giving something a name brings clarity and validation to it, whether it's emotions, experiences, or identities. Naming allows us to acknowledge basically, what's going on in our life. And I think that can be, a big thing for a lot of people, to understand the emotions, the experiences, the identities, and how a diagnosis provides relief by offering answers, or how naming an experience helps us progress and process forward. The words we assign to things, as I said, and our lives get shaped and molded because of these perceptions. And choosing the right names can help us embrace growth and heal and start springboarding to an amazing transformation. Number 9, intent versus impact. What we mean and how our words are received aren't always the same. Communication isn't just about intent, it's about an impact. You may not intend to offend or exclude, but if the impact of your words does just that, it matters. Being mindful of how language affects others is crucial for building strong relationships and effective leaderships. We've learned before from other episodes that if we say something or we use a certain gesture in another country, it might be considered offensive. So that's important, to be aware of. You may not intend to offend or exclude, but when you do, it's a problem. So be mindful of how language affects others and how it can build, as I said, that strong relationship. Always consider how your words and your body language affect others and be open to adjusting your approach for a better level of communication. Number 10, language evolves. Language is never static, ladies and gentlemen. It adapts and it grows with society. Words that were once common may become outdated, while new terms emerge to reflect social progress. Embracing the evolution of language means staying informed, being open to change, and understanding that words have the power to shape our future. As language shifts, so does our collective understanding of identity, respect, and connection. So keep learning, keep evolving, and let your words inspire progress. I think sometimes people get so caught up, okay, that they don't know what to do. And that might sound daunting, but it's something that we need to understand. We have to realize that we have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So, language shapes our reality, right? The words we use describe reality, they actively shape it. When we speak positively and with intention, we create opportunities and solutions. By choosing words that empower and inspire us, we shift our mindset. Our identity is more than just a label. We've learned this. Those who understand their worth and stay firm in their identity unlock a deeper sense of purpose and meaning and direction, driving them toward success. Words create inclusion or, unfortunately, set up divisions. Language can unite people by building bridges, or as I said, it can install walls. By consciously choosing words that support growth and confidence, we train our minds to become our greatest ally instead of our harshest critic. See, our mind is extremely powerful. And once you start to harness those true, let's say, powers of the mind, your limits are boundless. Cultural and societal impact. Language is deeply entwined with culture and society. And so embracing the power of words and social change allows us to contribute to a more inclusive future. I think sometimes people just spur things out because, they're impatient or because of frustration. Reframing is important. How we frame our experiences determines how we react to them. And the power of reframing lies in using words that inspire progress rather than limiting us, reinforcing us, or, knocking us down. The way we intend our words to be received and the actual impact of them have possibly two different impacts. And it's important to understand that what we say and how it's perceived should be the same. If it's not, then we need to change our communication style, don't we? Language evolves. It's going to always evolve. Language, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, it is not static. It grows and adapts with society. As we evolve, so does what happens, how we communicate. And now I want to give you a personal short story for each point, because I think this will probably drive this home a little bit better. As a young entrepreneur, when I started, I once struggled with self-doubt. Yes, I did. I kept telling myself I'm not good enough, and I reflected in my work. One day, a mentor challenged me to replace the phrase, I am constantly learning and improving, with that other one. And it felt strange at first. It felt a little bit uncomfortable, right? I said, you got to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And again, it felt strange, but over time, my mindset shifted and I started taking on bigger projects and opportunities. I never imagined starting the appearances that I am now doing today. Changing my words changed my reality and changed how I show up, and it changed how other people saw and perceived me. So again, I changed the I'm not good enough to I'm constantly learning and improving. For the identity drives empowerment, here's an interesting one I had. So in college, my friend Alex always hesitated to share his passion for art, afraid of the judgment that people might have from him. One day, he introduced himself as an artist instead of a student who likes to draw. That simple shift changed everything. He started owning his craft, gaining confidence, and even showcasing his work in galleries. The moment he fully embraced his identity, the world started to see him differently too. When you see yourself differently, the world will see you differently. About labels, growing up, I was always called shy. It stuck with me, and that was not me. I avoided speaking up, assuming I wasn't meant to be outspoken. And this was probably until I got into like maybe second grade. One day I decided to challenge that label and reframe it. I wasn't shy. I was thoughtful and I was always observant. That perspective gave me confidence, and soon I found my voice. And now I'm a public speaker and keynote address person. The way we label ourselves determines how we show up in the world and where we're going to have the opportunities or not. Self talk impacts a mindset. Before every big presentation, I used to say, I'm terrible at public speaking. Now, this was back in first or second grade. My first real presentation was Trees by Joyce Kilmer. I would, in a moment, just like to read this for you, Trees by Joyce Kilmer, and kind of let you know what I went through. I think this is a really interesting, um, it's an interesting passage, I'm going to say. Trees. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Joyce Kilmer. So that moment, ladies and gentlemen, changed my life because that's when I realized that I can speak. All right. I can speak. And I changed that phraseology to I'm prepared and confident in getting better at speaking. I joined Toastmasters, oh gosh, probably when I was in high school. And I was way ahead of the curve, but I still was able to grow. Cultural and social impact can be daunting for a lot of people. During a trip abroad, I learned how important language is important to know that you can show respect. A friend taught me a local greeting, and when I used it, the shopkeeper's faces lit up. That small effort opened doors and conversations I never even dreamt were going to be possible. I wouldn't have otherwise known this. Words are so powerful for connecting, especially when we use them with cultural awareness. Now, reframing positivity is another big one of mine. When I lost a big client many, many years ago. I initially saw it as a failure, but instead of dwelling upon it, I told myself this is a chance to attract an even better opportunity. That mindset shift led me to land a bigger client just a month later, reframing the challenges as opportunities change the game. Intent versus impact. Well, once I made a joke. I thought it was harmless, but a friend later told me it hurt him. I realized my intent didn't match the impact. Instead of getting defensive, I listened and I apologized and learned from it. It was a powerful reminder that how our words land is important than how we meant them. Remember, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. That's a lie because your skin and your body will heal, but the emotional scars from words might last a lifetime if you don't know they're there and how to remove them. My grandmother, when it came to language evolving, used a term she had grown up with, not realizing it was outdated. When I explained the modern equivalent, she was open to learning. It was a reminder that language isn't fixed, it evolves with society. Keeping up with these changes isn't just about being politically correct, it's about respect and connection. I think a lot of people in our world, you know, they don't want to change. It's not because they don't want to change. It's really because they're scared about change, right? I think that is probably the most important thing that I can tell you. It is about that change. And that change is something that maybe you're not prepared for right away. That's okay. You don't need to become a be all end all overnight. You don't have to be that. But what I do expect everyone to do is to be taking small steps of continual progress every single day. Maybe you're trying to get better at a language. Maybe you're trying to be a better student. Take steps every day to make you a better student, a better reader, a better linguist, right? a better sportsman. Whatever it is, you have more power than you think. It's just that it's locked up in your mind. And when things get locked up in our mind, it's like the key gets thrown away. We're like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. How do I even show up? How do I even do anything? And I think this affects so many people, right? It could be something as simple as somebody said something that maybe offends you, but a lot of people don't realize what they say and they didn't mean it to hurt you. They just want to get the point across that they didn't take the time to choose the right words. What do I mean by this? When you want to make a presentation, or especially when you want to talk to somebody personally, one on one, it's important that you take the time to figure out what you're going to say. Don't just blurb things out of your mouth. Doing that is going to show disrespect, it's going to show disorganization, and it's going to show that you really don't care or give anything about the other person. So take the time to embrace what it is you want to say. Say it as if you're talking to your own best friend. I think that's really important. And I think it's important that we embrace this concept. Whether you're someone that has just got on the earth a few years ago, or you've been on the earth over 100 years, our perception, our world is what gets us to change who we are. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we show up in our lives. We show up by looking at what's in our life. We show up by our belief. All right. We show up by that belief. And that belief, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I think a lot of people, they don't necessarily realize, but it can make a huge difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Be sure to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations.